What's up, y'all? Let's get into it. So we trying to get caught up, y'all. We trying to get caught up. So we are, Lord, this thing gets on my nerves. We are getting caught up on Next Gen NYC. Now I will be honest with y'all. Who knew that Next Gen NYC would have all of this going on? I honestly didn't really expect all of this, if I'm being honest. Let me get a little gloss up here. So I have notes, honey. We're gonna get through these notes, okay? Because we're doing episodes 4 and 5. And then, of course, episode 6 comes on tonight, but we'll get caught up with that. So episode 4, it starts off with, what's up, y'all? Baby, Don, I'm working. I got to get in where I fit in while I'm off, honey. I got to get in where I fit in while I'm off. Plus, I'm still trying to get caught up from taking 2 weeks. Basically, I took 2 weeks off. I was traveling and stuff like that, and I couldn't get a lot of my reviews because I'm still behind on Divorced Sisters. I need to get caught up on Divorced Sisters, and then I think I'll be okay. Because Miami is this week. Next Gen is tonight. The Ultimatum, that's on Netflix. I'm gonna get caught up on that. And then, Atlanta is on Sunday. So I think I'm pretty much caught up on my shows. Big Brother starts Thursday. Y'all know Big Brother is a commitment because there's like a show where they do 4 shows a week. So Big Brother is a big commitment, but we're gonna make it happen. We make it happen. Y'all know I'm usually good with Big Brother until it gets to the end. And there's people that I don't like at the end, and I think somebody about to win that I don't like. That's usually when I fall off on Big Brother. But doing a panel has helped me stay consistent with Big Brother. Anyway, that's another conversation. The Next Gen NYC. So we start off episode 4. We see Ariana and Hudson have found an apartment. Now, their apartment is $10,000 a month. Let me explain something to y'all. Ariana makes about $1,000 every time she does a TikTok video. They show her doing her Get Ready With Me. And she said that basically she makes about $1,000 every time she goes live on TikTok. So realistically speaking, she can have her rent in 2 weeks, right? She can make her rent in 2 weeks. And if she's splitting it with Hudson, she can make her rent in a week. Go live once a day. If you averaging $1,000 a day, if you go live every day on TikTok, excuse me, she got her rent. Okay. So I'm not really worried about the stressing of that because she does other content and makes money and that kind of thing. But can we just talk about where we are as a society in the United States? I'm about to go left for a second. Me and my friends, I love this group of girlfriends that I have. I love the conversations that we have because we just have some real ass conversations, and we laugh and we cry and we hug, and it's a great time. But one of the conversations we had this weekend, we just talked about the cost of living in the United States and how ridiculous it is in this country. It makes no sense that for a basic apartment, they don't have a fancy apartment. Like when they showed the floor plan and they showed where that apartment was and all that, they're not living in no high-rise penthouse for $10,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? They don't have an extended terrace. They don't have, all of these amenities. I mean, I don't know if it's a building that has security and all that. I don't know about those type of amenities, but I'm talking about just the bare basics. They have a basic ass 1, maybe 2-bedroom apartment. I'm not sure. $10,000 a month is ridiculous. I don't give a damn. I don't care how you slice it. And I know that people are saying, I understand, CC Freak, that's not my point. My point isn't how much my point is that it's too much. I understand that New York is expensive. I know that. I get it. I know New York. Baby, I want to go to New York right now. I told you guys I wanted to go up to New York this summer and just go catch a couple of shows. But the trip to New York just to drive up and park my car for 2 days, pay the tolls between here. No, I know what you're saying, baby. I understand, freak. I understand, baby. Freak, CC freak. Just to drive up to New York, pay the tolls, park my car for 2 days, pay for a hotel for 2 nights. And the cheapest thing out of that whole trip would be the tickets to go see the shows. It is ridiculous. So, I mean, again, yeah, I mean, clearly I'm not in charge of anything. I can't change anything. But I just think it's ridiculous. $10,000 a month for that apartment is just absurd. Absurd. Now, if they were living in some fancy building or something, then I'd be like, oh, okay, But the building didn't even look like it was like, anyway, never mind. People are overworked and stressed out and have nothing to show for it. Exactly, little baby. Like, and let me be clear about something. That is not what the world looks like. That is what United States looks like. I ain't trying to go down the rabbit hole. But when you look at, y'all about to make me go left on this thing right here. Y'all, we have been sold a lie. I feel like, I wish I had that clip of Carly read. It was all a lie. They sell us this quote unquote American dream, and they fool us into thinking that the United States is the best place and we got it all figured out. And when you realize that when it comes to education, we're not the best. When it comes to quality of life, we're not the best. When it comes to the food that they allow us to eat. Now, don't get me wrong, I ain't going nowhere. And I ain't saying never. I'm saying right now, I ain't going nowhere. But it's just crazy, y'all. It's crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. There are other places in the world that are expensive as well to live. But it's just not. It's the exception and not the rule. But anyway, moving right along. Because I don't want to spend too much time on their child. So they have an apartment, and that's really cute of them. We also saw in these next 2 episodes, I'm just going to go through my notes, y'all. I ain't going to spend a whole lot of time on certain things. We also see in the next 2 episodes that they're working on this clothing brand. Now, Ariana, I like you, girl. I like you. But I got to pop your hand a little bit. I need to pop your hand a little bit, Ariana. And here's why I need to pop your hand a little bit. You literally spent both of these episodes talking about what you didn't know about the clothing business and starting your own brand and all of these things. Like, we see you getting tutoring lessons from a designer that has his own line and things of that nature, which I think is smart. I think it's smart to find somebody that's going to mentor you, that's going to walk you through it, that's going to help you out, that's been there, maybe can help you avoid some of the mistakes that they made. I think that's very smart. However, fast forward, and I'm gonna spend more time when we get there. When we get to this moment where you and Ava are having y'all moment, girl, you can't spend 2 episodes talking about what you don't know about the fashion industry and what you don't know about a clothing brand, and then get mad when someone who literally is in the fashion industry, who is a model, whose mother is one of the top stylists and has started her own, fashion, her own clothing line or whatever. You really can't get mad when she says, "Oh, I didn't know, you just don't look like fashion." And then turn around and say that you're literally living out of a suitcase. So you're wearing like the same clothes over and over again because you don't, you have what you bought with you. Like, you can't get mad that people see what you present. And we'll get to that. But moving right along. So Ariana, pop your hand on that a little bit, okay? Brooks and his parents, we didn't see a lot of Seth on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City because he's usually traveling and he's not around a lot. Something wrong with that man. And I don't mean that in I'm not trying to put nothing on him. I'm not trying to say he's got a disease or he's doing drugs or nothing. But something, I don't know if he's trying too hard with these cameras. I don't know if he feels like, I can be a little more, wild because these are the kids and I have to be a little more stuffy when it's the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like, I'm not really sure where all of this is coming from with Seth, but it is weird and it is very uncomfortable to watch. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. And I also feel like this is not who he naturally is. I feel like he's quirky, but I feel like he's putting extra on it. You think Seth is socially awkward? I think he's just awkward. I don't know. And the reason why I say that I think this isn't who he usually is because of Brooks's reaction to it. You know what I mean? Seth is getting more screen time and acting a fool. Right. Like, again, we've seen him. I know he's a little weird. Weird isn't the word. I know he's quirky, but it just seems like he's putting extra. It just seems like he putting a little oomph on it, is what it seems like to me, but okay. Brooks is complaining that his parents are around a little bit too much. He said that him and his two siblings live in New York, so their parents are in New York a lot more because they're there. Now, wasn't one of the rumors that Lisa was trying to spread about Meredith back on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? And wasn't one of the rumors that Meredith had a boyfriend out in New York? Wasn't that one of the rumors? That Meredith had herself a little boo thing out in New York? I don't know, y'all. But with that being said, do you remember the itch comment when he was trying to be funny? I don't CC Freak. Was that last season? Because I didn't finish last season. And if it was any of the seasons before that, I just don't remember it. Lisa said that Meredith had men all up and through New York. So I find it interesting that they, I just made that, I was making that little connection. But it was weird. Okay. We see Charlie and his father. Let me say this, and I'm probably going to spend the majority of this conversation on Charlie. I have a lot to say towards the end, but let me just say this for right now. I feel like Charlie is really trying to build up this picture that his father is this horrible tyrant, mean guy. Nothing is ever good enough for him. No matter what he did, nothing was ever good enough. Let me tell y'all something. And I'm going to put a pin in Charlie. We're going to get to Charlie, but let's put a pin in Charlie. So anyway, we see him having lunch with his dad and his dad's girlfriend. His dad invites them out. His dad invites him out to him and his friends to come out to their house, which is a beautiful house in Port Washington. Never heard of Port Washington before, but there's that. Charlie wants acceptance from his dad. I'm gonna come back to that one, CC Freak. I agree, but I think that's low hanging fruit, right? I think that's the easiest. Poor little rich kid. Parents were too busy. Parents were doing this, that, and the other. Nothing was ever good enough. My dad wanted da 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 da. I think we're oversimplifying it, but we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. Approval. We're gonna get to it. We meet Georgia and her boyfriend Omar. All I can say is this about Georgia and Omar. Omar, at first she said Omar was the CEO of a startup business, and then later on in the episode, she said that he's in crypto. Don't get me wrong, billionaires even have been made off of crypto. So I'm not side-eyeing the crypto thing. I'm just trying to figure out, like, when it comes to these reality shows and people change these stories, it always makes me question. Because the first story was he was the CFO of a startup, and now it's crypto. Now, it could be the same thing. I mean, crypto could be the business. I don't know. But it's interesting. She said she's never dated a man in a suit before, and they are actually getting ready to start a business together, like a party planning business together. I don't want to say that Georgia is using Omar, because I think Georgia probably does like Omar, but I also think that Omar is serving a purpose for Georgia. Because I'm not going into business with somebody I've only known for 3 months that I'm dating. Like, that's crazy to me. That's just stupid. I'm sorry. Like, if I meet somebody that's in an industry that I want to get into and we agree to do business together, that's one thing. But if this is somebody that I am sleeping with, and then they decide, no, we're not playing that game. No, ma'am. We're not doing that. Yeah, exactly. Julia Sugarbaker. I think it's layered with Charlie. We're gonna get to Charlie, but I think it's a multiple of things. But he definitely has issues with his mom. And he sort of makes it seem like him and his mom are in a better space. But I do think there's some resentment there, and I do think that's something that needs some long-term. Oh, shoot. I do think that's something that needs some long-term therapy. They do talk about therapy at one point, and Charlie says that he's been in therapy, but I don't think he respects it. But he probably doesn't respect it because, see, therapy forces you to look at yourself. Like, yes, there are other elements and there are other things that have created you and made you the way you are. But at the end of the day, you also need, at the end of the day, you also need to do some self-reflection. And Charlie's not there yet. Charlie is not ready to self-reflect because right now in Charlie's mind, it's everybody else but him. And part of that everybody else is his father. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to Mr. Charlie. Okay. So it looks like they still tried to call Charlie when they left Gia's house, when they were on the party bus headed back into New York, and they were trying to figure out why he got an Uber and he didn't ride with them. And he's still trying to make excuses and explain away the fact that he offended Riley, apologized, and took the apology back. Then he was mad at Ava for Ava telling Riley, and he was being, he was just being rude. And Ava ended up hanging up on him, child. And then she wasn't speaking to him. She was sort of ghosting him. He was calling her. He wanted her to come to his father's house when they went to Port Washington. Ava was ghosting him, wasn't answering his calls, and he was just like, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" Now, they've alluded to the fact that Charlie has a crush on Ava. He very well may, but Charlie's an ass. So even if he has a crush on Ava, I don't think it's anything. It's certainly not something I would encourage. Because Charlie doesn't respect women. And it's clear when you see how he has treated every single woman on this show. He doesn't respect women. Even down to that last scene where him and Georgia got into that argument, and he said, "If you were a man, I would slap you right now." Even though he prefaced the statement with, "If you were a man," it doesn't matter. Like, we're going to get, like I said, I got a lot to say about Mr. Charlie. We're going to get there. We found out a little bit more about Georgia and her parents. Georgia, both of her parents were lawyers, and they actually had a business that was doing really well until 9/11. She said after 9/11, her father really kind of went off the rails. She said that it seemed like 9/11 triggered something in him, and he ended up leaving the family, moving upstate, ruined the business, and pretty much left her and her family destitute, and he died. I think he probably died destitute too. I'm going to tell you what I think happened with Georgia's father, and I don't know these people. This is Really B's diagnosis, okay? And nobody asked for it, okay? Nobody asked for my diagnosis, but this is Really B's diagnosis. This is my opinion on what I think had happened. I really think that 9/11 triggered the YOLO effect in a lot of people. For those of us who lived through 9/11, especially if you lived in the DC area and the New York area where you may have been more directly affected than, people around the country, 9/11 triggered a YOLO effect, right? Oh God, here we go with this, my damn thing. And what I mean by that is a lot of people lived by it could be gone tomorrow and I'm going to live my life and I'm going to do what I have to do. I think that what it probably triggered, and I don't know these people. This is my opinion. I don't know these people. But I think what it triggered in people was, or what may have triggered in her father was, he may have really realized, I'm just not happy. Now, did he handle it in the best way? Probably not. But I think maybe after 9/11, he woke up and he realized, number one, I don't like being a lawyer. I don't want to do this anymore. A bomb could fall out the sky and I could die tomorrow. I don't want to do this anymore. So he stopped doing it. He may have realized he didn't want to be married anymore. Maybe he no longer loved Georgia's mother. I'm not making an excuse. I'm giving a reason. Maybe he realized that he did not like his life as it was at that moment, and he decided he didn't want to do it anymore. Again, I'm not making an excuse because I think that it sounds like he didn't handle it well. But what it sounds like is that he just got a whole YOLO and was like, I don't want to do this no more. And he dropped everything. He left his family. He left his job. He moved to upstate New York and was probably living his best life. And again, not saying he handled it correctly. But again, for those of us who lived through 9/11, because also what you have to remember too with 9/11, we literally were at war the next day. Nobody knew what that war was going to look like. Nobody knew what else was coming to America. Like, that is literally the first time that the United States have been attacked on U.S. soil since Pearl Harbor. So nobody knew what it was going to look like. And so I just think that's what happened. And again, I'm not making an excuse for her father because I don't know that man. And it definitely sounds like he handled it poorly. Do you think he knew people personally? He may have, CC Freak. I think maybe he did. Like, people who lived in New York, it was really hard. You know, they say 6 degrees of separation. So, I mean, hell, I knew people who worked at the Pentagon and who worked at the Twin Towers. Thank God all of them, were, lived through it. But you have to think, if you lived in New York, and especially if you were in the businesses of law and you moved in certain circles, you had to think that you may have known somebody. So yeah, I mean, that could have been it too. That could have been a direct connection as well. I saw smoke from my home in New Jersey and from the building where I worked in New Jersey. I never forgot that day. My son was 4 and was mad. We could go to Disneyland that September. Oh wow, I could see the smoke from my classroom at the time. At the time, I was working in DC, and I was working in Southwest DC, which is literally right there at like the Virginia. Like, from my classroom, I could be in Virginia in 5 minutes. And we literally saw the smoke from the Pentagon. We didn't know what it was at the time, but we saw the smoke. And so, yeah, it was definitely a scary, scary, scary time. And for those of us who were adults that lived through it, when you were a child, you didn't fully understand. But when you were an adult living through it, it was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah. So, again, not excusing him because I don't know him. Just thinking there may be some other options. Okay. I put my asterisk next to this. I'm going to say this, but I'm not going to dig into it yet because I'm going to dig into Charlie at the end, y'all. But I put this in my notes. I just don't want to forget to say it. I wrote, I think the trust fund ends at 30. Because they make a big deal. They kept making a big deal about Charlie's getting ready to turn 30. He's getting ready to turn 30. He's getting ready to turn 30. He's acting up. What's going on with him? He's acting weird, but he's getting ready to turn 30. I think something triggers at 30 as it relates to his trust fund. I think that it sounds like there are certain things that he has to do to access his money. And I think that he hasn't done those things. So, for example, when he said he got a master's degree just to make his dad happy, no, I think that was part of what he had to do to get his money. I don't know that to be a fact, but I found it interesting that everybody kept talking about the 30. It was that he's almost 30, almost hurt 30, almost 30, almost 30. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, we're going to come back to that. Dame Dash had a golf tournament. Listen, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Is it me? Or are we learning more and seeing more of Dame Dash than we are of Ava? Every time we look up, Ava is in the Hamptons, or Ava didn't answer her phone, or Ava is showing up late to an event. I feel like Dame Dash is more concerned about being on this show than Ava is. Because, girl, what? Now, shout out to Dame Dash. The golf tournament is for an organization that he has. It's called Off School Grounds, where he mentors principals and he teaches them about entrepreneurship and all that stuff. That's great. Wonderful. And I'm going to just leave that right there. Dame is like Seth with the screen time. Yeah, but honestly, I feel like Dame is giving us more with his screen time than Seth is. But you're right. You're right. The parents are actually getting a lot of screen time, which I find interesting. Of course, we know the celebrity parents more so than we know the other parents. But I mean, we've had a couple of scenes with Charlie's dad. I mean, I feel like we're on episode 5 and we've had 3 scenes with Charlie's dad and one with his mom. Like, you know, of course we see Teresa, we see Meredith. I feel like we see Meredith and Seth more than anybody else. But we see Teresa, we had a scene with Candy. I feel like the only parent we haven't seen is of course, Georgia's parents, but we've learned about her parents. And then who's the roommate? The guy that's pansexual that lives with Charlie. But his family doesn't live in New York. So I don't feel like we're going to see them. I can see that a lot of parents put provisions on trust. Some want their kids to be married to get access. Yeah. I mean, we saw that on Power, and I know Power is a TV show as well. But I mean, we see Dylan. Thank you, CC Free Dylan. But Dylan is not from New York, so I feel like we probably won't see a lot of, unless he goes home or his family comes to visit. It's interesting how much we see of Meredith when she lives in Park City full time. Maybe she doesn't. That was one of the things that I think Lisa or somebody else put out there, that Meredith doesn't even live in Salt Lake City. Y'all don't remember that? Y'all don't remember somebody saying that? It might have been Jen Shaw. I don't know. But remember, one of them said that. They said that's why she's got a different house every season. Because she doesn't live there full time. Y'all remember that? So maybe she's only in Park City part-time. I don't know. Ava and Charlie have a talk. Charlie and Riley have a talk. And they make up with him. Charlie was basically saying that he just didn't want to be seen. He said he didn't want to be seen as a villain, but I feel like that was code word for I didn't want to be seen as a racist. And I felt like that was the direction that conversation was going in. As much as I think Charlie is an asshole, I can understand Charlie feeling like that. Listen, we live in a very sensitive society these days, and people get canceled for less. So I can definitely see being in that moment with everybody coming at him saying that he made a racist statement or a racially insensitive statement, I can see his reaction being very defensive and him saying, like, I don't want to be painted as that person. I'm not that person. I don't want to be seen as that person. Again, I'm not saying that I agree with how he handled it, y'all, but I can understand him feeling like, oh, hell no. Y'all ain't about to put the racist title on me. Don't do it. And here's where the age comes into play in this situation. Because the person I am and where I am in my life right now, that the way he handled it, not what he did, but the way he handled it would have been enough for me to say, I'm keeping you at arm's length. That doesn't mean that I'm necessarily kicking you out of my life, depending on what we've done in the past, like how close we've been in the past, the experiences and the memories we have. I'm not saying that I would totally kick him out, but what I'm saying is now I'm going to really keep you at arm's length until I really see how you move in. But that's a life lesson. We've all stayed in friendships longer than we should have. Hell, we've stayed in relationships longer than we should have. So for me, the way he handled it would have probably been enough for me. But again, that's an age thing. They're sensitive and I'm being him if that's who he shows up as. Oh, there's sensitive and him being him if that's who he should. Hold on, B. Spence. Okay. I think I read that wrong the first time. Yeah, keep that hood on him. Exactly. I do not think that, and I'm not saying that's what you said, Spencer, V. Spencer. I just saw that word. I don't think that Riley was being sensitive, and I think that I love how Riley clocked it. I love how Ava, Ava don't say much, but I love how Ava had her back on it. I loved how Ariana and Brooks stood up for her in that moment and was like, listen, I ain't gonna sit here and pretend like I know what it's like to walk a mile in your shoes as a Black woman. However, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and I'm with you, girl, and I got your back. Feel me? And then after all of that, Charlie turns around and says, "Hey, I'm starting to like Ariana more. Maybe I'll F her." See, Smoke, you don't have your mod stick over here. I'm gonna have to give you your mod stick over here, boo. I'm like, sir, and that's why I said he doesn't respect women. Period. There's a full stop on that. He does not respect women. And you're right. From his mama all the way down. He just doesn't. He sees women as, because even after Ava said she's been with her boyfriend for like 2 years, and he was like, well, I mean, I'm not going to actively pursue it, but if it falls in my lap, sir. And Charlie completely exaggerated how Riley was in the moment. You would swear Teresa was talking to the girls in the club. Yeah, it was, like I said, it was, and then even with the, like, he did what they said he did. Let's be clear. He was guilty. He was absolutely guilty of what they were saying that he did. All I'm saying is, his response was worse than what he did. That's my opinion. His response to them telling him what he did was worse than what he did. In my opinion. Because again, me and Tracy were having this conversation earlier. I was talking to Tracy earlier on the phone, and we were talking about that. Like the microaggressions that people who are not in an ethnic group don't always understand that they're doing. But when I'm telling you as a Black woman, what you just did was a microaggression. And I know Riley didn't use those words, but when I'm telling you what you did was what it was, how it affected me, and what the stereotype connected to it is, as my friend, if you're really my friend, your response to what I just said to you would have hurt me more than what you originally had done. But that's just my opinion. What up, Cajun Boo? Hold on. Let me do this before I forget. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know every time I open up my phone to do one thing, it's 20 other things going on my phone. All right. And y'all know my ADHD be like, oh, what? Okay. Okay. Child, let me go into that. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to give Smoke his stick before I forget. His mod stick before I forget. Okay, there you go, boo. Okay, thank you, Smoke. Smoke been a mod for me for a long time. I didn't realize you didn't have your mod stick over here, baby. So, keyword friend, Charlie sees Riley and the Housewives kids beneath his bum. We're going to get to that, V. Spencer. Yes, ma'am. You are absolutely correct. He definitely sees the Housewives kids as beneath. He sees everybody on the show as beneath him, and that's part of the problem. I'm almost there, y'all. I'm almost there with Charlie. I'm almost there because I'm almost at the end. But part of it is, let me say this so I don't forget to say it. But part of it is, one, I think he thought the show was going to be built around him, and I think he was going to be the star of the show. And the more that these housewife kids showed up, and he knows that they bring a certain notoriety with them, they bring a certain fan base with them, but he also doesn't respect them because of how these people have made their money. He doesn't respect it. And he doesn't respect anybody on this show. He sees everybody on this show as beneath him, and that is part of the problem. That's why I said when it comes to Charlie, it's layers to this. It ain't no one-stop shop with Charlie. It's layers to this, in my opinion. So So they end up going out to dinner and everybody is clicked up, right? So you see that there's a split in the group and you see that they're all sort of clicked up. This is where the comment is made, where Ava makes the comment about Ariana not being fashion. Now, I kind of already talked about this earlier on in my review. Ariana, girl, you were doing too much. Now, I like you. I really do. I like Ariana. I like what she's giving. But girl, you're doing that was you was giving too much in that moment. And let me tell you why you was giving too much in that moment. You literally have told us, and I'm repeating myself because some of y'all weren't here at the beginning, but you literally have told us that when it comes to starting your own clothing line, you don't even know what you're doing. You've said that to us. You don't know what you're doing. So for somebody who is in the fashion industry, who has been around fashion and styling and clothing brands her entire life, for her to say, oh, and she didn't say it with she really didn't say it nasty. I mean, I understand how things get repeated, but she was like, oh, well, when I see her, I don't think fashion line. I don't think fashion. Instead of getting offended, why not say, girl, look, I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out myself. You know, I'm just getting to New York. This is what I'm trying to do. Do you think you could talk to me a little bit and give me your insight? You think I could you think you could set up a conversation, a Zoom with your mom? You think maybe I could sit down and talk to your dad? I mean, for wherever Dame Dash is today in his life, we're not going to take away that he was very much a part of the whole Rockefeller situation. We're not going to take away who Rachel Roy is. So I just feel like, to me, sometimes I feel like we are so quick to get offended instead of saying, well, you know what? Why don't you help me out? And here's the thing, be offended, but ask for the help. I think Ariana responded more to, I just don't get your aesthetic, but you don't know me. You literally saw me for the first time 2 days ago. Yeah. Ava baseball shorts with heel swag is not. And don't get me wrong, I'm not even saying that I feel like Ava is the best person to have that conversation either. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I just feel like, and Gia, girl, you know they said Gia got fired. I'm okay with Gia getting fired. Here's why I'm okay with Gia getting fired. Because literally, the only time we see Gia is when she's trying to fight with somebody. Literally, the only time we see Gia is when she is trying to get in somebody's face. So I'm actually okay with them firing Gia if that's true. Because, girl, what you giving? And then Gia, when she was arguing with Ava, she doing all this with her hands, and Ava was like, don't put your hands in my face. See, here's my problem with people do. Instead of just being like, I wasn't trying to be aggressive, I wasn't trying to be in your face, she gonna say, girl, I'm Italian. That's what we do. You just need to get used to it. No, the fuck I don't. I told you, get your hands out my face. I don't have to get used to it just because you are Italian. What the fuck? See, that's that Teresa in her. That's that Real Housewives of New Jersey in her. That's that, oh, I think I'm gonna, if I'm the loudest and I'm the bossiest and I'm the most aggressive, I'm gonna be the star of this show. Because you learned that lesson from your mom. Right? Teresa was not the star of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. She had that infamous moment at the end of season 1 where she didn't even flip a table. They exaggerated that, y'all. She lifted up a table. She ain't flip shit. You know what I'm saying? But it became infamous. And then, of course, she kept going, you know, now we got the scene where she pushed Andy down. And, you know, she's taken that and she's built, you know, because it got her attention and it made her the star. So you are learning, you took that from your mom and now you think that's what's going to put you on. Girl, if you don't go sit your ass down somewhere. Right. The show was built around the Manzos and Danielle crazy. Child, Danielle crazy as hell. Danielle crazy as hell. Anyway, child. Anyway. Oh, child. Moving right along. So, Brooks and Meredith and their relationship. Listen, I it wasn't the most interesting moment, but again, if this show is about Gen X or Gen whatever this generation is, I don't know what letter it is anymore, but whatever this gen is, and them trying to figure it out and them trying to find their way, I was actually here for this conversation, because here we have Brooks, who some might say, oh, you're a Nepo baby, you're working for your mom's a millionaire, or on paper millionaire, whatever, and you've got it made, life is so great. And you see Brooks saying, listen, I like doing this and I want to work for you, but we can't do this. We can't play this game. We can't play this every time you get mad at me, you fire me. Like, that's not funny. That's not cute. And Meredith was like, well, I don't mean it. That is not the point. First of all, can we just call a thing a thing? Brooks is a little sensitive. And I'm not saying that because he's gay, he's sensitive. I don't want nobody to say I'm saying that. I'm saying in general, Brooks is a little sensitive. He clearly deals with anxiety and he does not like conflict. Like, Brooks does not know what to do when there's conflict. Now, I do think he needs to toughen up. He definitely needs to toughen up. But we know what we're dealing with. And your child. Your child can't handle that. Meredith, stop doing that. Like, if he's doing something, because it does sound like he messed up. It sounds like he made a mistake. But again, that is the risk you run when you hire a 24-year-old to be your brand manager. He's going to make a mistake. He's going to fuck up. I agree, CC Free. It does seem like Brooks was a lot more assertive and on Salt Lake City. But again, remember, we only saw him in clips. We only saw him in very edited clips, right? So Brooks needs to get his own thing and get off of the tit. He has what it takes. I agree. V. Spencer, I agree with that as well. I definitely agree that he needs to do something else. I agree. That I agree with. Exactly, Cindy. And that's the problem, that when people work for family, whether it's parents, cousins, sisters, we've seen that a lot, right? We've seen that a lot where you work for a family member and then they don't treat you the same way. They feel like they can treat you different based off of the familial relationship, right? So that's why you have to set those boundaries and keep those boundaries intact, right? We have the Caviar event. Georgia is doing the Caviar event. Honestly, it looks like Georgia did a good job. The day before the event, the venue that they were using literally had been evicted from that building, and they had to find a whole new venue that could cater to what it was they were trying to do. Have the menu, all of those things in 24 hours. Now, if this was done for the purpose of the show, I'm still here for it. If this was a manufactured moment, I still think it was a great moment for I still think it was a great moment so that we could see Georgia kind of do her thing, right? I thought it was great. I love that she did not buckle under pressure. She was like, we're going to make it happen. And we saw her on the phone. We saw her business partner on the phone. We saw them like calling people saying, look, you owe me a favor. I need you right now. Hey, remember that time I did ... for you? I need you to do this for me. I loved it. I really loved it. And like I said, even if this was a manufactured moment for the purposes of the show, I don't care. Because if that is what this show was supposed to be about, is the show that this generation and what they're doing and how they're doing it in a non-traditional way, I'm here for it. I was here for it. I loved it. Child, Ava was late. And everybody was offended that first of all, Ava was down the street but didn't want to walk because it was raining. I can't be mad at that. Especially if you got on some expensive ass shoes. I can't be mad at her waiting for an Uber to take her up the street. I mean, now what I'm mad is that you were still late. Like, even if the problem wasn't that you took the Uber. The problem was that you showed up. Literally, they were packing this shit up, which means if this was a 4-hour event, you literally showed up in the last hour. The fact that they didn't even know if they still had any caviar. So, again, I really feel like Ava don't give a damn about this show. I don't feel like she's vested in this show. I feel like maybe her dad put her up to doing this show. I'm not sure. Amira is black? I didn't know that. Even when they show pictures of her when she was in college, she must be okay, girl. I do agree though. I would like to see more of Amira. I figured that Quake that she was biracial. Yeah, I figured she was biracial. But yeah, good for her. Okay, hold on. Now, this was the same night that we're gonna find out later. Was the night that they all went to this place called the Box. The Box is like the happening spot. They went to the Box, they agreed to get a table. Charlie shows up and invites like 6 or 7 women to the point where Riley didn't even have anywhere to sit, and she literally was paying, like she was paying for part of the table, and she was like, they were drinking up all the drinks. I ain't even have anywhere to sit. Let me tell you something. Anybody who has ever bought a table at a club, that is the whole purpose of you buying a table at a club. It's so you can sit down and not have to worry about walking around for somewhere to sit at the fucking club. If you are paying for a table and literally you don't have nowhere to sit, Houston, we have a problem. And then she said they were drinking 1492. Bitch, what? So, according to the Bravo website, she's the first Black trans model. I did not know that. I knew she was, I didn't even know she was trans. Y'all told me she was trans, but I didn't know she was identified as Black either. I did not know that. And but that's the only reason why I say identified is because if she's biracial, yeah, I know. I ain't going down that road with y'all today, but y'all know what I mean. Eventually, it sounds like Riley kicked them out of the table, and then they agreed. Her and her friends just decided to split it. We're gonna see that. We're gonna see that whole story breakdown later on when she's talking to Candy and explaining why she's not speaking to Charlie again. We have this throwaway scene. We have this throwaway scene with Charlie and Eva going to the slutty vegan building. Talking about buying it and turning it into something with Dame Dash, trying to encourage them to go into business together. First and foremost, they don't know shit about running a business. Neither one of them. Let's just start there. And that's when Charlie said he does have his master's degree in hospitality, but he literally only got it to make his dad happy. Which means that I feel like you bullshitted your way through it. Like, what was your GPA, girl? What was your GPA? How long did it take you to get that master's? Moving right along. All right. So then we literally see, is it me or do y'all notice how production, every time they show Charlie's apartment, they show y'all all that weed? Is it me? Or have y'all noticed that every time they show Charlie's apartment, they show you all that weed he got in that damn apartment? And paraphernalia from the smoking of the weed. Production not slick. So this is where we start seeing Charlie being obsessed with these damn speakers, okay? Charlie is trying to get these speakers back from Georgia. And literally for the rest of this episode, all we see is Charlie texting Georgia about these damn speakers. Now, let me say something. I'm about to pop you on your hand, Georgia. I'm about to pop you on your hand, Georgia. If you borrow something from that man and he wanted them back, the same way it wasn't an inconvenience for you to borrow them, is the same way it's not an inconvenience for you to bring them back. I don't give a damn how much they cost. I don't give a damn what you think Charlie has or does not have. If you borrowed them and you said you were going to bring them back on Monday, he shouldn't have had to text you for the next week to get them back. And I understand when you were at the Caviar event, why that might have been an inconvenient moment. But even then, the way you were dismissing him when you answered the phone about at the Caviar event, I felt like was wrong. When you have something that belongs to somebody, see, this is my problem with Georgia. You're dismissing it because in your mind, he's rich. If he's really that desperate, he can go get another pair of speakers. Why in the world is he worried about, like, why is he stressing me out about these damn $10 speakers? It's not the point. They could be $2 speakers. They were his. And you said you were going to bring them back, and you didn't. I don't give a damn if he had 10 other speakers. So that I didn't like and I didn't agree with. Now, why Charlie was so obsessed with those speakers, again, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to all of that. Well, at least, again, my opinion, why Charlie was so obsessed with them damn speakers. But again, it doesn't really matter. They were his. You borrowed them. He wanted them back. And I felt like you were very dismissive of that because you decided that it wasn't important. But you didn't have no problem borrowing them. And as a friend, he didn't hesitate in letting you borrow them. Let's not forget about that part, because he could have said no. So I, again, we can say a lot of things about Charlie, but on this one, I'm with Charlie on this one. Only on this one. Only on this one. Here's where we definitely see how Charlie feels about the people. Charlie was talking, I think he was talking to Ava, and he was talking about Georgia, and he was saying how she was homeless, living on his couch, and literally eating his scraps. See, it was the eating the scraps part for me. The homeless living on my couch part, okay. Y'all are kids. Georgia makes no bones about the fact that she ain't got no damn money. Like Georgia does not pretend like she has something she does not have. But it was the eating scraps part that did it for me. Because first of all, if you're my friend, you're not eating scraps. You're going to eat what I eat. And you're going to eat when I eat. Especially if I know you're my friend and you're having a hard time. Especially if I know you're my friend and you going through it. Baby, you're not eating no scraps. You're going to eat what I eat. And you're going to eat it when I eat it. So that I did not like. I didn't like the way he said, oh, she's eating scraps. Nobody eating no scraps. Okay? But again, that just lets you know that how Charlie feels about all of them. Okay, so then we had this scene with Candy, Todd, Ace was there, Riley was there. What's the baby's name? Y'all know the baby. She was there. And Ariana came through. And it was cute. I loved how Candy was happy that they were friends and happy that they had reconnected. And that's when Riley tells him the story of what Charlie did and how Charlie stuck them with the bill. Now, Riley, girl, you do seem like Blaze. Thank you. Now, Riley, you do seem like you don't have a sense of money. Like, you were like, I mean, it was $700. That's not a big deal. Girl, $700 for one night at a club is a lot. Now, they did say they were splitting that in half, so it was $350. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I ain't never been to the club and spent a couple of $100 because I'd be telling you a lie. But it sounds like this is what you do regularly. Like, when I did it, that wasn't my everyday move. Like, we wasn't going to the club every night and spending $300. Okay? Riley, you need a job. Now, technically, you do have a job because you're doing this show. But, Riley, girl, you need a job. Okay? You need a job. Now, I love the fact that Candy is giving her time to figure it out because she can afford to do that. Not every parent can afford to, but I love the fact she said that the whole table cost $14,000. Yes, the whole table cost $14,000, but then she said that they split it, and her part was $700. And then I think Ariana said, "Well, don't forget, you and so are going to split it." So that's where, but the full bill was $14,000. But that's after they kicked Charlie out, they split it. So Riley's part was $1,300 split with her and Amira. I thought she said her part was $700. It don't matter. It was too damn much. Whatever it was too damn much. Whatever it was too damn much. Yeah, I thought, okay, I missed all of that math. It don't matter. It was too damn much. It was ridiculous. Now I will say this though, Candy, gotta pop you on your hand a little bit, Candy. And this is why I say I got pop Candy on her hand a little bit. I understand you want Riley to be a lawyer. And I understand that at one point in time, Riley said that she wanted to be a lawyer. A lot of us said things when we were younger that we no longer are interested in doing. So when Candy was like, me and you sat down and we came up with this plan and you said you wanted to be a lawyer. Candy girl, you can't hold her to that. Even when she started college, I understand she wanted to be a lawyer. Hell, when I started college, I wanted to be a lawyer. That ain't where I ended up. Sometimes I wish I had, but that's neither here nor there. That ain't where I ended up. A lot of people start college with one thing in mind because that's what they think they want to do. And then they get to college and interests change, or they see classes that interest them to more or whatever. They have all these different, options. And I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like Candy girl, you gotta let that go. Riley may come back around to it, but you gotta let that go, Candy. Candy, baby, you gotta let that go. I think Riley still wants to do entertainment law, but she wants to explore some other things. People up and go to law school all right. That's what I'm saying. Give her some time, Candy. Give her a minute, Candy. Give her a minute. Right. And and baby, the way that Candy rolled her eyes when she said she wanted to be a DJ. Candy, is DJs out here making millions of dollars, girl, flying all over the world. Okay. And again, this may be something she's interested in right now. She may do it for a few years and then roll it into something else. She may end up going back to be an entertainment lawyer. Like, you just don't know. But I was like, Candy girl, stop. You said you wanted to be a lawyer. Candy, stop, girl. Stop it. Just stop it. What time is it? 4:00. Okay, I gotta keep up with my time. I gotta be ready to walk out the door at like 6:15. So let me keep up with my time. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell, What the hell, say? Let me fill up. Make sure I got a full charge. Right. Riley could be the next Diplo. You never know. Okay. So we find out that Charlie is basically sticking everybody with the bill these days. They go out to dinner and they have this whole conversation. Everybody's irritated with Charlie. Amira said that Charlie stuck her with the bill one night because he does this whole, all I have is Apple Pay. Oh, can you put it on your card and I'll pay you back? And then he don't be paying people back. See, my thing is you ain't going to get me with that but one time. Now, what we found out is that Charlie actually has filed bankruptcy, which might be part of the reason why he doesn't have a credit card. I think that one of the blogs put that out there a few weeks ago that Charlie filed for bankruptcy a few years ago. And he just don't have no money. His dad definitely finances his lifestyle. I think somewhere they said that his father gives him $10,000 a month. Well, in New York, that's nothing. We just saw that Ariana and Hudson's rent is $10,000 a month, and they don't live in anything anywhere close to what Charlie lives in. Yeah, we heard, right. We saw a conversation with him on the phone asking somebody for $4,000. Right. We definitely saw that. All right. So then we see this last scene with Charlie and Georgia, and they get to arguing about this damn speaker. Again, Georgia, I feel like you were a little dismissive in how he felt, and Charlie, I felt like you were just disrespectful and rude in what you said and how you said it. He was like, you wouldn't be on this show without me. You wouldn't have this opportunity without me. You wouldn't be here without me. And then said, that's when he made the comment, if you were a man, I would slap you right now. Again. So let's break down Mr. Charlie. Let's start from the beginning. Number one, no, Charlie has no respect for his mother. I think he tries to give his mother a pass and he tries to be nice about it, but he has not processed his mommy issues. It sounds like his mom abandoned him with his dad, and it sounds like his dad was very much a drill sergeant, right? But let's not sidestep that Charlie probably went to the best schools. Charlie had the opportunity to be in the circles with all of the trust fund babies, right? All of the money kids in New York City. I'm sure he ran in those circles most of his life. I'm not saying that his dad wasn't maybe a bad dad as it relates to, giving that emotional, saying I love you, giving you hugs. Like I'm not saying he was. But what I am going to say is I think Charlie is now using that as his crutch. Because you went to college, you went to grad school. And I also think part of the reason why he went to grad school was to probably keep off from him having to get a real job, right? Oh, I'm gonna go to grad school. That'll buy me a few more years before I have to actually go out here and get a job. He said that his dad pays his rent, so because he doesn't want him living with him. Okay. Charlie, you almost 30 years old, sir. I don't think it's a problem that your daddy don't want you living with him. Like, you're not 18 years old and you're like, oh, I need someone. You are knocking on 30. I don't think it's a problem that your daddy don't want you living there. I think something with his money is connected to his age, him turning 30. I think that's why his dad was trying to have that conversation with him when they went out to his house and he got mad at his father and he was like, I don't want to talk about this now. I don't want to talk about this now. Earlier on in the season when we saw him talking to his dad and he was talking about him trading crypto, and his dad was like, okay, what you're doing is not trading. Like, that's not how you do. That's not how you trade. That's not how you make money doing this. So I think the whole crypto thing is just something cute to say because people are like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I trade crypto. Oh, I do crypto. I think it's something cute for him to say. And he definitely has an avoidance. He doesn't want to deal with anybody giving him any criticism. And that might come from his father and the criticism that he dealt with from his father. That might be a remnant of that, right? But I definitely feel like he doesn't deal with criticism. He doesn't want to deal in it. He doesn't want to deal with it. He don't want to process through it, right? He doesn't do criticism well at all. But when it's all over said and done, you think he's gambling? What you mean, like stock market wise? The whole stock market is a gamble. It's just an expensive gamble, but it's a gamble all the way. But let me say this. I agree, V. Spencer. V. Spencer said he definitely has a trust fund. He has clearly not met the requirements for releasing whatever that is. I agree, and I think part of that is connected to his age. Because a lot of times with these trust funds, especially nowadays, people are spacing out the trust funds. Like, you might have a trust fund that's worth $50 million, right? I'm just making up a number. At 18, you might get $5 million. Once you graduate from college, you might get another $5 million. If there's another stipulation, let's say grad school or married or whatever, then you get another $5 million. And then when you turn 35, you'll get the bulk of it if you've done A, B, and C, right? And if you haven't done it, then they'll push it out another couple of years. Like, it just depends on what was written and how it was written. But the fact that everybody, because here's the other thing too. I don't think Charlie was always broke. I think that whatever is happening with Charlie is a new thing. And that is why he can't adjust his spending, because he's always spent this way. I think he either had a credit card that he could use that belonged to his dad, or his dad was giving him more money and maybe his dad was cutting the money back. I don't know. But I don't think, because here's the reality. If Charlie was always this person and never paid and never had any money, these people would not be surrounding themselves with him. He's in these circles because he does have money or did have money. I think this situation is a new phenomenon. I don't think this is how it always was. You ever been around people who used to have money and then for whatever reason their money is funny, but they're still trying to maintain the lifestyle that they put out there. But people, that's why he gets away with, oh, I'm going to give you the money back. Can you go ahead and put it on your card? Because he's probably made good on that in the past. This whole him not paying is probably new. Y'all see what I'm saying? My kid is disappointed to be back home from another country for just a minute. He doesn't want to live with me while he gets his PMP. What's that? What's a PMP, Smoke? PMP. Teach me something today, boo. What is a PMP? Shireen said he's stuck. Some type of trauma happened and he can't move forward. Maybe. It may be. Maybe there's some trauma there that, you know, he can't move on from. Maybe. I'm waiting to see what a PMP is. But yeah, at the end of the day, project manager certification. Oh, thank you. Oh, got it. Got it. Project manager. That makes sense. Yeah, project manager. Thank you, boo. Learn something new every day. So that's what I'm saying. It's one of those situations where, and Smoke, hit me up. Your kid was living out of the country. I have a friend that's getting ready to relocate and move out of the country, and they're looking at different things. So maybe your son has some insight into some do's, some don'ts, some ups, some downs, some good, some bad. Yeah. All right. So yeah, y'all, that is what it is. So let me get off of here. Let me get off of here so I can get ready. Gotta do some stuff, and then I gotta be ready to walk out of here about 6:15. I have dinner plans at 7. So with traffic and stuff. So I want to get ready to get out of here in a little bit. But yeah, ultimately, Charlie is the star of this show because it's starting to become a everybody hates Charlie situation. Southeast Asia. Oh wow. Okay. All right. One of the countries they're looking at is in Asia. They're looking at a few countries, but one of them is in Asia, actually. But ultimately, you guys, it has to be Charlie is gonna at the end of this, I just don't think it's gonna end well for Charlie. I think Charlie definitely has a problem with the reality kids. He's ultimately he's really nasty to the reality kid, but ultimately he doesn't like anybody. He thinks all of them are beneath him. He thinks every single person on this show is beneath him, and I just don't know what he thought he was signing up for. Like, I understand they didn't want it to become a Bravo Kids show, but what I feel like they wasn't bringing it. Oh, I want to go to New Zealand and Australia. That's definitely on my list. Those are definitely countries that are on my list to visit. Lord, the Supreme Court just keep on keeping. They just keep on keeping. Supreme Court. They approve. All right, let me get off of here, y'all. Now I'm getting distracted. Sorry. But yeah, Charlie's the star of the show for all the wrong reasons. And we're gonna see where we end up. We have an episode tonight, so we'll be back. We're gonna see what happened. Look like some stuff goes down at the Jersey Shore. They're down at the Jersey Shore, okay? And we're gonna talk about that. All right, y'all. Let me get out of here. They will answer for all. Let it play out. Cindy. All right, you guys. I'm not sure what time I'll be home from dinner, but if I get home early enough, I do have some things I want to talk about. So we may do a late night tribe meeting. I can't promise because I've been live, I've been moving all day. So I may come home and just chill, watch a Christmas movie because it is Christmas in July. All right, y'all. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Peace.